All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Working Fans Podcast. And AJ, we're going to talk some wrestling this week. We're going to talk about Dynamite. But first, I'll kick you off here a little bit. We were just talking about something off the air before we got started. And what's up, Producer Joe in the house? He can chime in.
Speaking of Producer Joe, I think it's time for us and Chevy to get together and do a new video. I look like a homeless sloth. Joe's shaking like he has got Parkinson's, and Chevy looks like he should be selling ice cream and candy to children in the video. Hey, I think it's time we change that up a little bit.
We like kids. We like candy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
nice shirt, by the way. Dusty Road, the American Dream, dropping them bionic elbows. Now,
well, we are the bionic elbow of podcasting, so that's why I wore this shirt.
I wanted to talk to you about oversaturation. I'll keep us on task here. A couple ADD guys trying to stay on task. We were talking about, because we always talk AEW Dynamite during the week, but we watch pretty much everything. At least try to. It's like some weeks. This week, I've managed to squeeze in NXT, Raw. Actually, I just listened to a review about Raw this week. I didn't get to watch that. I got Dynamite in. I got MLW in. And I just squeezed in a little NXT UK. And we can't remember shit.
Yeah, but you want to talk about oversaturation. Remember, I was in the Bahamas last week with no Wi-Fi. So I got back late Monday night. And I watched all of last week's wrestling, Raw,
right,
NXT, Dynamite. Literally, I have watched twice as much of what we normally watch already this week. And even taking notes, I can't remember which one is which from the notes I'm taking. It was bad.
So much shows out there. It's too much. Yet, at the same time, I know we're both excited about the potential Freddie Prinze Jr. having a promotion. So,
so that's the funny thing is we are oversaturated, but we're excited for Freddie Prinze's promotion, not because it's more wrestling, right, but because we know he's a passionate fan, first of all.
Right.
We know he has written in the WWE, so he has the background in there, but he also wants to give benefits to the wrestlers. He wants to make them actually part of SAG, the Screen Actors Guild. So he wants to make sure they're taken care of, which is something we have not done for these independent contractors in the past.
Yeah.
So we're very excited about this because of what it could be.
It's funny, too. I was listening to this podcast, and he openly admits that SAG isn't even the best union. He said, but it's a union, and it's something great for the wrestlers. But, like, that kind of honesty, like, right away, I just, like, appreciate that right off the get-go. And he talks about, he wants to start in 18 months. He actually said he could start even sooner, but he'd have to move to Australia for I think 3 months. And he doesn't want to really leave his family and stuff like that. So that's not a good idea. He said he's already had offers for locations and stuff, but he said one of them was okay, 2 sucked. Like that kind of honesty. If my wife was Sarah Michelle Gellar, I wouldn't want to leave my family either. Yeah. He wants a 2-hour show. He wants to start in 18 months, like I said. He has money for a 3-year plan with some people, I guess. And he says if after 3 years it just sucks, we pack up. And he said he wants to give men and women equal time, which I think that's really great because even with AEW, which has granted been our favorite show and stuff like that, and they've constantly improved their women's division, I think that one of the things is missing is, and of course this week might have been a poor example, but I do think we need more women's main events. I think we need more women's segments some weeks and switch things up.
Funny, Thunder Rosa this week on Dynamite mentioned the fact that he that she has elevated her game, that women's wrestling is elevated, that she's been an important part of elevating wrestling. Apparently the only thing that has not elevated her is her ability to do a promo.
I thought she was okay. I wasn't as critical this week, but there was some pauses and stuff in there, which I know you would not be a huge fan of. It'd be very great.
She literally, it's like she's waiting for the crowd. Unfortunately, the crowd wasn't there, so it just came out as dead space.
Producer Joe, also talking about Freddie Prinze Jr., he took a job to start funding this. I think that is important to note, too.
Yeah, he's actually working as a janitor at the Hollywood Bowl.
That's what he's doing.
He's going to be protecting comedians on stage.
Is he with Eddie Kingston? All right. We could talk a lot about this stuff. I guess right before we get into the show, because producer John had a question too. How was the Bahamas? I want to talk about that.
The Bahamas were great. So I actually won a silver medal. Here's a shocking thing. There was a 3-point contest on the ship because they have a full basketball court. 22 people. I actually took second place in the 3-point contest. The only person who beat me actually is a former 2-guard for the Memphis State Tigers. So good for them.
Well, he was just way out of probably. Yeah, that doesn't seem fair that he was involved.
Yeah, not bad for an old fat guy who hasn't picked up a basketball in 10 years.
And this also it was he has a project with Netflix. Freddie Prinze Jr. That is.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's working behind the scenes in Netflix. My bad.
Joe also thinks this medal sounds like a work.
I may have paid people off. It's fine.
Yeah. Let's kick it off. AEW Dynamite. First match. I actually did enjoy this. Jeff Hardy versus Bobby Fish. Owen Hart tournament. Hardy gets the W. Not really shocking here. We expected that.
I enjoyed the match because I enjoy watching Bobby Fish.
Yeah.
Every time I watch Jeff Hardy wrestle, I'm a little bit afraid he's going to either break his neck or kill his opponent with the swanton now. So it could be a 2-way street where he breaks his neck and kills his opponent with the swanton. So I'm a little uncomfortable watching Jeff Hardy at this point.
Bobby Fish loses. I noticed too. Adam Cole seemed particularly annoyed on commentary. Do you think that's anything to that, or is he just at this point we'll take it as he's selling the loss?
I think he's just selling the loss because he was bragging the whole time that they're going to have 3 members of the Elite all in the Owen Hart tournament. So I think it's just going to be the loss. I don't think they're going to break up O'Reilly and Fish, at least not yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think he's just selling the loss.
You have too many singles wrestlers already in the Elite. Are you gonna how are you gonna just make it more singles wrestlers?
Right. After this, and by the way, we also had Sting and Darby watching the match in the crowd too as well. We are building towards that Darby Jeff Hardy match. That's out in the first bracket. I should get the bracket for this too while we're doing this.
That's actually going to be a fun match. I mean, obviously, you got 2 people that literally will kill themselves in the ring. So that should be a fun match to watch.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'll do this. Talk to me a little bit about the Blackpool Combat Club. This is about to be. These guys are my favorite segments every week. Butcher, Blade, and Helico. Combat Club goes over. Regal on commentary. He's just awesome.
Regal's fantastic on commentary. Actually, the whole Adam Cole was good on commentary to start off the show as an extra guest. Then you had Regal as an extra guest on commentary. Last week you had CM Punk on commentary. I love these little spots where they're bringing the guys in. But Regal, phenomenal as always. I love this club. I'm hoping that they're going to add other people to it. I think you need one more. I don't think you want to put too many people in it. But they need one more piece. I'm not sure who that piece is going to be. But they need that one more person to really add to it, in my opinion. But I do like him as a group. Wheeler Yuta, he's looked phenomenal.
Yes.
He's definitely coming into his own. He has to continue, though, to do more of his style. He does look a little off when he tries to do more of the style of Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. He has to stick with what brought him a little bit. His stuff does not look as good laid in as obviously the other 2 veterans.
I would agree with that. Then after that excellent match and the commentary, we had Wardlow versus MJF's mystery opponent. This is where I thought
match of the week right here, folks.
This is where I thought things went a little downhill. W. Morrissey, who's been doing all right in Impact, the former Big Cass, I thought solid. But for whatever reason, this I thought was the worst out of all Wardlow's opponents so far. I thought Wardlow, the segments have been killing it. Wardlow still did his job, but we didn't even get the 4 power bombs. We got just 1. I I just felt like this segment was a little off.
Yeah, instead of a symphony, they had a solo, so that was nice. Morrissey seemed thrown off. It's the biggest crowd I think he's been in front of since leaving the WWE, to be honest with you.
Right.
As much as we enjoy Impact, even at the pay-per-view, you're not talking about the same amount of people or the same environment that you have for AEW or WWE with that volume of fans. And I don't know if he was supposed to show that the Enzo chant got to him and stuff of that nature, but even the announcers were like, he's way too preoccupied with what the crowd is chanting at him and not enough with his match here, focusing on Wardlow. And it came across that way.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah.
And not in a good way, not in a way where he's trying to tell a story like, oh, he's preoccupied because something's happened. No, Enzo's not coming to the AEW. Enzo's not.
Yeah.
That's there's no story here. That's like I was joking around about them being match of the week. The only way they're match of the week is if there's literally no other matches this week.
Backstage, well, before that, we did have MJF after Wardlow beat up all the security. That was actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
And because he's been beat up the security lately, but then they'll eventually overwhelm him. But then this week he just got rid of everybody.
Wardlow manhandling people is literally the highlight of that match. But that's what Wardlow does best, and that's what people want to see. People want to see the symphony of power bombs because they want to see him manhandling people. He didn't do that. Morrissey had more offense than anybody else has had, and he only got one power bomb in there. So it was funner, and I know that's not a word, but it was funner to actually watch him manhandle the security.
And then afterwards, MJF said he will give Wardlow what he wants, a match, but there's going to be conditions, and he will tell us that next week on everybody's favorite place, Long Island, New York.
Talk about oversaturation. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. SmackDown tonight is from Long Island also. So Long Island and the Nassau Coliseum is actually going to have 2 wrestling events within 7 days of each other.
It's crazy. Chicago's had so many events this year too. It's unbelievable.
Long Island, though, I do look for them to still be amped up because MJF is from Long Island, and so isn't Johnny Hungy, who's going to be on the show. And I think both of them are going to get raucous reactions when they perform next Wednesday.
Backstage, we got Ruby Wyatt cut a promo on Britt Baker ahead of her tag match with Toni Storm against Baker and Hayter. I didn't think there's much to report. I'm kind of almost done with this. Like, let's just get to the matches. Like this, I don't think I'm really adding anything. These bits back here.
It's doing absolutely nothing. Hey, guys, we made a rule this week. They're not going to touch each other because that's what we want in wrestling. We want rules that keep them from touching each other each week for like 700 weeks. Now, don't get me wrong. If it's a main event storyline and you want to keep, let's say, Kenny Omega and Adam Page from touching each other for 6 weeks and build anticipation, absolutely. You want to keep 4 people who nobody gives a shit about from touching each other week after week, that doesn't really do much to build them up.
Right. And I would say that, I think
I'm not saying that nobody gives a shit about them as performers.
Right.
I'm saying nobody gives a shit about this storyline. I should be clearer on that.
Yeah, right. Because I know we're a fan of Britt Baker and Toni Storm.
All of them. Toni Storm. I like Jamie Hayter.
Right. Yeah.
I think Jamie Hayter's underrated, and I think Ruby Soho spends too much time in catering. I absolutely love all 4 of these people, and I think they're underused. But part of that underusage is having interviews where you bore the shit out of people.
I agree. For the most part. Hangman Page comes out. This is just a little odd. He cuts a heel promo. We talked about this now. Obviously, one of them is going to probably have a little bit of edge. I don't think he's going completely heel. At that point, at the same time, though, I felt like he went a little too far with the heel turn. Like, I thought he was talking about burning your CM Punk t-shirts and the masturbatory Bret Hart tributes and stuff that was really going to piss off this crowd. And it's like, well, you're not going completely heel, right? So,
to me, if you're going to do this, and this is just me critiquing it and me saying, hey, what I would do, I would have him do the slow turn if you're having him turn or having him go a little bit heel. Just have him come out and go, hey, listen, this is going to be a fight. And he did that part. This is going to be a fight. This is not going to be a catch-as-catch-can wrestling style. You might be the best wrestler in the world, but I'm not coming to wrestle you. I'm coming to fight you. You could do that. Leave it at that. Have him get into it with CM Punk next week when they're both actually there, and you can have them do a little bit something a little bit more heelish at that point.
Yes.
having him just turn flat out on the crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally one of your most popular wrestlers.
It felt rushed. It felt a little bit. I felt less would have been more in this case. Maybe just one of those lines. Maybe you didn't have to tell the fans to burn it to you. Maybe make fun of the Bret Hart tribute thing just a little bit, and you're not going to be ready for it. And stop right there. I think that would have been perfect. I think he just gave us a little too much because now it's like, well, wait, are you an actual heel? Because if so, this came out of nowhere.
Yeah. So now, what do you do after this match if he wins and your next contender is a heel?
You're supposed to love him again, right?
Yeah.
It's just
What if your next contender is MJF? Is MJF now facing another heel? But I think it's going to be CM Punk. I think CM Punk's going over, and I think it's going to be CM Punk versus MJF for the belt.
Next, we have Santana versus the Wizard, Chris Jericho. The Wizard.
Two very good wrestlers. I am actually, I like the group.
Yes.
I like what they've done with the actual sports entertainers, especially Daniel Garcia. I'm a sports entertainer when he's literally the purest wrestler in the group.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that.
Santana did great here too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the match was good. I just don't like the fact that they literally are getting the better of these guys every week.
Right.
And so at some point, you have to have Santana, Eddie, and Ortiz actually get some positive momentum. Otherwise, it means nothing. And yes, go out tomorrow and pick up your Fozzy. What do they sell now? CDs? Go get your Fozzy CD at your local record shop. Is Tower Records still available?
So then Jericho goes over. They continue to get the better here through underhanded tactics, and we're using, we're really we are bringing home. We're really pounding home. This is a 5-on-3 advantage. They constantly have the numbers, which me and you have talked about. Me and producer Joe have talked about. Several people that there's a reason for that. This has to be leading somewhere, and more people.
If they don't come out with two other people at some point, I would be absolutely shocked.
Now. Let's talk about two guys who are trying to make a name for themselves, and they did exactly that. I'm talking about the Varsity Blondes. They called out the House of Black. They gave a fiery promo, and then they went out there and kicked their fucking ass.
Well, not only that, but you really, really brought through that storyline with Julia Hart. I think we finally got what we were looking for. We got that edge, that extra something from this young lady.
So, reality, for those who didn't see it, it was a fine promo by Brian Pillman. I thought he was fired up, but then basically House of Black came out, handled them in like 2 minutes. And
first of all, Pillman took the least amount of time. They literally just came in, beat him up, and threw him out of the ring.
Yep. And then they backed Julia Hart in a corner, and then they gave her a chair to attack the Varsity Blondes, which at this point, I'm expecting she's not going to hit him with a chair, but then she's going to do something else. But instead, they kind of like bully her more in the corner. She backs down, and nothing happens.
Well, I did enjoy that she held the chair over him for what felt like a half an hour. That was nice.
And then, Death Triangle comes in and makes the save.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. All right. Excited to see them. They leave. And
wait a minute. They didn't all leave. Julia Hart hung out for a minute.
Julia Hart, that's what I was going to get at. So we're getting ready for Ray Phoenix versus Dante Martin in the Owen Hart Cup qualifying, and Julia Hart hangs around, which I'm like, oh, why is she hanging around? Maybe she's going to blow the mist in Phoenix's eyes, cost him the match time. Nope, she just eventually disappeared, I guess, because we had a good match. I just don't know why she hung around. So Dante Martin, Phoenix do what they do best. Probably one of the better matches of the week, but Phoenix goes over. No problem there. Phoenix, I think, is the more highlighted competitor.
Yeah, Dante Martin's got such a bright future. I mean, he's such a young kid. Both him and Julia Hart, to be honest with you. Julia Hart, I know that storyline sucked, but she's literally the youngest member of the roster. So I think she's got time to grow if they allow her to.
Let's take a break for a second. Let's talk about this Owen Hart Cup tournament now that we have all the men involved here. I'll just get a couple quick predictions. On one side of the bracket, we have Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin and Adam Cole versus Dax Harwood. I think we're setting up Hardy versus Cole. Agree? Disagree?
No, I agree with that.
Okay. Other sides.
I think that eventually it is going to lead to something between Sting, Darby, and the Hardys also, though.
Other side's a little more complicated. We got Samoa Joe versus a Joker. We don't know who that is. And
I think Heath Ledger goes over.
Phoenix versus O'Reilly.
Probably a different Joker than Heath Ledger. My bad.
Is somebody going to come out the gate and beat Joe? Is it Saddam Singh, maybe?
I mean, it could be. He doesn't make sense in the tournament with everybody else that's in the tournament. No. I would like to think that they're going to bring in someone who's actually at the level of work of everybody else in the tournament. Right. Otherwise, this monster is just going to go through everybody, and that's the biggest disgrace you could actually do to Owen Hart.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a debut. I agree with Backley. I saw him in the comments there. I think
debut. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a debut. I think they're going to bring in someone, and Jay Lethal. He's reading my mind over there. I think Jay Lethal is going to find a way to cost Samoa Joe. Maybe
a New Japan star.
Absolutely could be. Dude, look at the Cesaro.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Absolutely. Cesaro or a New Japan star, I will say we're looking at. But yeah, I should be interested. All right, let's get back to this Dynamite review. We did have, like you talked about earlier, a Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb segment. It set up a pretty good match that we're expecting will be a great match at the pay-per-view. I like that we're already announcing.
It's going to be an awesome match. They just need to let the two of them stop talking to each other.
The promo's a little off. I think Thunder Rosa has shown signs before. She could be a good promo. Serena Deeb usually knows how to just stay in her lane, you know.
Thunder Rosa needs to stick with doing the fired up promos.
Yes.
That's she does a great job as the fired up almost underdog when she's coming after someone.
Yeah.
She's not as good thus far as promo once she's the champion. Serena Deeb's, the cool thing was that black eye from getting the cane in the eye.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed that or not, but it freaking just nasty black eye still.
And we have our main event, Deonna Purrazzo defending the Ring of Honor Women's Champion against the interim champion, Mercedes Martinez. Martinez goes over. She unifies the belts. That's about all I really got to say about this. This match did not click for me. I love both women. I just think it wasn't built up. I think this would have been better on an actual standalone Ring of Honor show, or maybe in the middle of the show or something, but I thought it was the main event, and the way this was built up it just fell a little flat. I don't think the audience was there.
So here's the funny thing about this, and I agree with you with the build-up 100%. These women have wrestled 3 times before on promotions like Shine and stuff of that nature, and their matches tore down the house. They were fantastic together. Yeah. They did no build-up for Deonna Purrazzo throughout the show, showing what Deonna Purrazzo can do. They have done no build-up for Mercedes Martinez for the last several weeks. She came in, helped Britt Baker, and then disappeared once she got done with what she was doing with her. So there's been no build-up whatsoever of either one of these characters. And then you put them into a main event and ask the crowd to actually give a shit. That's how does the crowd give a shit if you haven't actually set up either one as players? Are you assuming that they're part of the 10 people that watch Impact like we are every week? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen.
I'm going to just address these comments, and I got something else for you. Appreciate. Backley, I agree. It was a big step down from the ladder match the week before. Joe, I think you're partially right. I think more time might have been good, but I think you needed to build up, and it maybe needed to be in the middle of the show.
You needed more time beforehand. To build it up. They should have at least had an interaction between the two of them early in the show.
Yeah.
If you had an interaction with the both of them having their belts earlier in the show, you may have had a little bit more draw.
Purrazzo's the one who should have cut the heel interview beforehand. 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
And Purrazzo's a fantastic heel. When you let her just rip into people, she comes across as cocky. But I don't think that they wanted to get Purrazzo over. I think that they wanted to actually leave her as just the person from Impact who happened to be holding the Ring of Honor title.
And I get that, but I mean, at the end of the day, your main event fell flat too, though. So.
Yeah, it did. Oh, absolutely. That's it pissed me off to no point too, because I'm fans of both of these women.
And I don't. I gotta tell you so. I gotta tell you something here too. You'll appreciate this. I don't know the validity of this. It's from Wrestle Inc. But apparently WWE reportedly very impressed with Big Cass AEW debut. I don't know what they were watching.
Yeah, Martinez is signed with AEW, and they did want to get her over. Backley's 100% correct.
Back in the comments again. Yes.
Yeah, that's but unfortunately they haven't spent any time actually getting her over for the last couple months in their own promotion, which would have helped also with this match if people were invested in there. By the way, she is from about 10 minutes down the road from where I live. So I love to see her actually do well.
I agree. Now, I'm going to get ready. Now, I don't think either one of us really want to comment more about that Big Cass story.
The WWE saw something in Big Cass there, tells you all you need to know right now about the WWE.
I'm going to give you my top 5 of the week. It's going to be a little different this week. All right.
I'm impressed you could find 5 things you liked.
First off, UFC 274 Saturday night. Check it out. Looks like a great card. If anybody likes MMA or if you're thinking about watching it, this is a great card. A lot of big finishers.
Wait till you hear one of mine.
Freddie Prinze Jr. talking about doing a new promotion. That's number 2 on my list. That
we agree on that.
Should be very exciting. Cody Rhodes is on the Skull Crush. Steve Austin's Skull Sessions there. I'm halfway through it right now. I've enjoyed it so far. I would say that's my number 3. The Owen Hart tournament as a whole, I'm just excited about that. That's number 4. And Blackpool Combat Club, once again, just because I'm still excited everything they're doing, is number 5. An honorary mention, because I didn't realize I had 5. I will give something else out there. Viking Raiders, Creed Brothers. The Creed Brothers, I think, are some of the best stuff going on in NXT 2.0 right now.
As you know, we discussed this beforehand, and I agree with you 100% about the Creed Brothers.
I didn't get this far. I just commented that backway. Cody Rhodes saying his favorite band is Our Lady of Peace, and Austin going, who?
That's fantastic.
That is awesome.
So one of my highlights this week, other than the Viking Raiders finally actually being allowed to be themselves and being more of the NXT product against the Creed Brothers, was fantastic. So that's in my top 5. I also have Cody Rhodes, but my Cody Rhodes actually is a clip that Dave sent me. He sent me a clip of Cody Rhodes doing an interview where he told a story about Randy Orton ripping a urinal off a wall when they were younger. Yes. And Cody going, I'm not sure I'm ready to be a pro wrestler because I don't think I can do that. That was a good story. That was a highlight of the week. So that tells you how good the wrestling was this week. Another one for me is the fact that Mike Jackson, yes, that Mike Jackson, the one who's about 75 years old and still wrestling, is actually making his New York City debut coming up this week. For him to be able to do that after being a journeyman in this business for 50 years and to still be performing at the level he is, that's a highlight for me because this guy deserves ropes. Huh?
He still walks the ropes, by the way.
He does. He still walks the ropes. He's 75 years old. Yeah, absolutely incredible. Now, another highlight this week for me, I will also agree with Dave. I love the Blackpool Combat Club. I think they're fantastic. It's my style. I love that they tear into people. I think that that's fantastic. So that's going to be number 4 for me. And then number 5 for me this week is hopefully something that happened tonight because the rest of the week was drizzling shits.
I also do want to, since back we had mentioned Jay White returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling, also Juice Robinson turning heel and joining the Bullet Club this week and attacking Tanahashi. That was kind of cool. So not enough love to New Japan. But overall, I didn't think a really eventful week other than maybe some non-wrestling stuff or stuff maybe not in the ring. But we'll see.
I should have watched New Japan this week with all that other stuff I had to catch up on. I haven't had a chance to actually get there yet, and I'm a little sad.
That Combat Club promo video with William Regal talking on the road to, if you haven't seen it yet, AJ, I'd recommend it. Really good stuff. Regal's just fantastic. I can't say enough good things about him. And a real highlight for me, Danielson, Moxley.
Dominion is going to be really good.
A lot of exciting stuff going on. The Forbidden Door coming up in June, I'm excited about. So we'll see. There's a lot of good stuff on the horizon. I'm excited about this. I think it's in September, but this WWE event going to be back to the UK for a pay-per-view. Gives me hope that, that could be interesting and fun.
There's so many good possibilities still. I just don't think that this was a good week, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And like we talked about earlier, I think it was the oversaturation, and I think they'd be better off if they cut Raw down to about 45 minutes. And got rid of
I agree. I think maybe I'd wish we had 3 top promotions right now, and all of them were given maybe like, I wouldn't complain if it was an hour shows.
One of my favorite shows every week is Rampage, and the reason why is because it's an hour, so they got to get down to the nitty gritty. If all promotions had a time limit where you have to now fit it into an hour, hey, bring your best product, how much better would wrestling be?
Absolutely. There wouldn't be as many people with jobs, but from the audience point of view, you'd be a big fan. Or maybe you just wouldn't see everybody as much every week. Maybe that's not a bad.
There would still be plenty of jobs because there would still be plenty of places to work. Mm-hmm. If anything, it might cause for there to be another promotion faster, to be honest with you. And everything would be a lot more competitive. And I just think that it would be better for the fans by far.
Absolutely. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this week. This is the Working Fans podcast. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you.